All right, this is 5.5, part 2. This is the trickier section, so Chris probably going to want to pay attention to this. Okay, so yesterday, remember we focused on that last number, right? So when we were doing this, Chris, where was it? Right here. X squared plus 6x plus 9. Do you remember we focused on that 9, found the factors of 9 that added up to 6? It was pretty straightforward, right? Right. What I want you guys to notice about yesterday and today is the following. Yesterday, that first coefficient was 1, meaning the leading coefficient was 1. That x squared had a coefficient of 1. Lance, today, is it 1? Yeah. No, 3. So I can't do what we were doing yesterday. All right, that's the problem. 1, I can simply, find the factors of my constant term that add up to my middle term. But with this stuff, I can't do it. So there's 2 things you need to do. First thing, see if you can factor out a GCF, okay? Now up here, these 3, A, B, and B, I don't know why it's A, B, and B, I didn't make it. But A, B, and B, all right, those we're gonna factor out a GCF, and then we're gonna treat them like we did in the first part. So, Julia, what number goes into 3 and 108? 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to factor out that 3. I'm going to do 3 divided by 3. That's 1. So I'm left with the x squared. And I'm going to do 108 divided by 3. And that's going to give me, let's see, don't tell me, 36. Right? Now, just like yesterday, I am going to be looking at the factors of negative 36 that add up to 0. Okay? Now, I gave you guys those patterns. Obviously, the pattern doesn't really hold true for this because we don't have that middle term. But it still holds true in the sense that there is no middle term, right? So I'm looking for the factors of negative 36 that add up to 0. Any guesses on what they might be? Carlana, any guesses? 6 and negative 6, right? The only way we can have middle terms adding up to 0 is if they're the same. So negative 6 and 6. So the 3 stays outside. We're going to have x minus 6 times x plus 6. And that is factored completely. Are we all okay with that? Jay, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
All right, good. Were you doing well at Fortnite?
No.
Yeah, I'm garbage at it too. I can't build. It's my problem. Can't build. You could be done. All right. But you want to keep going to make sure you're done. So it is possible. So let me rephrase. Carlana asked if there's an x squared or an x cubed, then we're not done. And the answer is, for the most part, yes. You could be not done, right? If that was 35 instead of 36, there's going to be no factors of 35 that add up to 0. So then we would write not factorable, okay? But for these, we're going through and we are factoring, all right? I'm intentionally picking ones that factor, okay? Up here, we have 4x cubed minus 32x squared plus 64x. Mike, what do you see? What do they all have in common? An x, okay? So I'm going to want to factor that x out. Anything else they might have in common? What might go into 4, 32, and 64? Lance? 4. So I'm going to pull out a 4x. 4 divided by 4 is 1. X cubed divided by x is x squared. Negative 32 divided by 4 is 8. X squared divided by x is x. 64 divided by 4 is 16. and x divided by x, well, they cancel. So now I have x squared minus 8x plus 16. And now we do have that middle term. So we can follow those patterns from yesterday. Notice it's negative and positive. That factor to a negative and negative. Right, Hansi? Hansi?
That's right.
Now I'm looking for the factors of 16 that will add up to negative 8. Now I know they're both negative because both my parentheses are negative. So I'm looking at negative 1 and negative 16, negative 2 and negative 8, and negative 4 and negative 4. Which one of those would add up to give me negative 8, Hansi? Hansi?
Yes.
Which one adds up to negative 8?
-4 and -4.
Very good. This guy. So x minus 4 times x minus 4. Now on WebAssign, they're going to want you to do this. Chris, do you see how we have x minus 4 and x minus 4? See how I have two of them? So they're going to want you to write it as x minus 4 squared. Fair enough? All right. Let's look at B. Nikki Grantland.
Yeah.
All right. What do I do with B?
Okay.
Into
I'm
4,
not.
5, and 6.
You put the 4 in the beginning and then parentheses.
Well, can I
The
factor out
4x.
4 from 5?
You can't.
I can't. Do they share an x?
Yeah.
No.
No.
6 doesn't have an x. So I'm only doing one like this, and I'll show you the others, how to do it the other way. All right, there's one method. Okay, it's called guess and check. Okay, kind of big fan of guess and check, right? All right, guess and check is not a lot of fun. Okay, because that 4 is in front, I now have to take into consideration what are the factors of 4. Okay, so not only do I have to take into consideration the factors of -6, but I also have to take into consideration the factors of 4. So 4 is 1 and 4, or 2 and 2. -6, well, this list gets kind of long real quick. We have -1 and 6, 1 and -6. We have -2 and 3, and 2 and -3. So what I'm trying to do is find some factors that are going to give me 5 in the middle. But here's the problem. Remember when I said I want that first term to be 1? Well, the problem here is, well, I have to take into consideration what times what gives me 4. So I can do 1x times 4x. Notice 1 times 4 gives me that 4, right? So this is guess and check. This is why this is not so much fun. Now, my signs still hold true. I have a plus and a minus, but now the issue becomes, does the plus go in the first set or in the second set? Do you see how this guess and check method doesn't really work out too well? It's kind of a lot. All right. So this doesn't really work out too well. All right. So I have to figure out, well, now do I put a 2 here and a 3 there? Or what do I do? Okay. So let me try and put a 2 here and a 3 here. All right. I don't even know. Right. I'm just guessing. I randomly picked 1 and 4, and I'm randomly picking 2 and -3. And now I have to check my work. 1x times 4x is 4x squared. 1 times -3 gives me -3x. 2 times 4 gives me 8x. 2 times -3 gives me -6. And I combine these middle terms. Did I get it? Yeah, I got it on the first try. I promise you I didn't do this one earlier. All right. I swear to you, Lance, I didn't. I just randomly picked it. All right, guess and check. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. But here's the problem. I could have gotten it wrong very easily, right? I literally could have been like, all right, well, the 3 goes here and the 2 goes there. And then I just would have been in shambles. Like, I don't know what would have happened. If I flip-flop the 2 and the 3, notice I would get 1 times the 2, and that's 2, and 3 times 4, that's 12. And I'm off real quick, right? So how do I do these? How do I work with these problems here? All right. So there's a method called the British method, okay? And the British method is kind of a little bit more concrete. First thing you want to do with the British method is this. 4 times -6. It's -24, right? You guys see that? So I got -24. Now, what are the factors of -24 that add up to 5? Well, I have -1 and 24. I have 1 and -24. I have -2 and 12. Lance, I heard you say it. What was it? 8 and -3. All right. So Lance noticed, hey, -8 and 3, that's my pair. Now, here's what we do from here. I have 4x squared. Now I want to kind of group these together because I'm going to use factor by grouping, okay? And I'm going to put the 8 in front with the 4. Do you see why I might do that? What can I take out of 4 and 8? That 4, right? If I put the 3 up front, there's nothing I can take out of a 4 and a 3, right? Now I put the 3 in the back with the 6. Do you see why I did that? What can I take out of the 3 and the 6, right? Now that I multiplied the first number times the last number and found the factors of that add up to my 5, right? Now I'm going to group them together, like factor by grouping, which if you haven't done is due on Monday. All right? We just talked about it. The factors of 4 and 8 that I can take out are 4, and notice they both share an x. 4 divided by 4 is 1. X squared divided by x is x. 8 divided by 4 is 2. X divided by x, they cancel. In the back half, what can I take out of -3x and -6, Miss Puckett?
What'd you say? I can't really hear you.
Sorry, it's the mask. What can I take out of -3x and -6? What goes into 3 and 6?
3.
3. So I'm going to pull that -3 out. -3 divided by -3 is 1. So I have that x. -6 divided by -3 is 2. Do you see that, Miss Puckett?
Yeah.
Now, do you see how they both share that x plus 2?
Yeah.
Pull that out, and I write what's left. Isn't that what I got when I did it through guess and check? This is more of a concrete way. It's always going to work, like first time. This is called the British method. All right. So now when I'm doing problems that have a coefficient in front, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if I can factor out a GCF. Notice in C, I don't have a GCF I can take out. I have 2, 1, and 21. Nothing can go into that. So I'm going to do the British method. So I'm simply going to do 2 times negative 21. That's negative 42. And I'm going to look for the factors of negative 42 that gives me negative 1. Try and think about it. If you can't, start listing. Look at the factors that are 1 apart. What numbers go into 42 that are 1 apart? You know? 7 and 6. Now, we need it to be negative 1, right? So Chris said negative 7 and 6. Right? So those are the factors I want. So I have 2x squared plus 6x minus 7x minus 21. Chris, do you see why I wrote it that way? Instead of flipping the 7 and the 6? Because 2 and 6, they work nicely together. What can I factor out of 2 and 6, Chris? 2. And what can I factor out of negative 7 and negative 21? So I pull a 2x out of the first part. That leaves me with 2 divided by 2 is 1. X squared divided by x gives me an x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And the x is canceled. The back half, Chris told me I can take out a 7. So that leaves me with x plus 3. I know he did it right because I have x plus 3 on both pieces. Pull out what they both have in common, and I write what's left. You guys try E. See if you can figure out E using the British method. Let me just fill up. You got 2 thumbs. Sorry, you don't need it. Here you go. Julie, you good with that? All right. Think about what factors of 36 that are going to be 16 apart. If you're stuck, start with the list. Did we get negative 18 and 2? Negative 18 and 2 are my factors. So I'm going to write, not ready for that. We'll write 3x squared. I'll write minus 18x plus 2x minus 12. And now I'm going to group them together. I group the 3 and the 18 together because they play nicely. I pull out a 3x. That leaves me with x minus 6. In the back half, I pull out a positive 2. And that leaves me with an x minus 6. So x minus 6 is what they have in common. And what's left is 3x plus 2. Justin, were you able to get that?
Yes.
Cody, did you get that?
Yeah.
All right. Now, the last two for the day simply says factor completely. So there's a lot going on here. So in A, what I want to do is I want to see if I can pull anything out. I noticed it's 627.15. What goes into 627 and 15, Carolina? 3. I also noticed they all share an x. So I'm going to pull out a 3x. 6 divided by 3 is 2. X cubed divided by x is x squared. 27 divided by 3 is 9. X squared divided by x leaves me with an x. Negative 15 divided by 3 is negative 5. And x divided by x cancels. So close. Now I have to do the British method. What are the factors of negative 10 that add up to 9? All right, what factors of 10 are 9 apart? I think we can see that pretty quickly, right? So I'm just going to focus on the parentheses part. So I have 2x squared. I'm going to write plus 10x minus 1x minus 5. And this I'm going to group together. 2x squared plus 10x, I'm going to pull out a 2. And they both share an x, so I'm going to pull that out as well. 2 divided by 2, they cancel. X squared divided by x. That leaves me with x. 10 divided by 2 is 5. X divided by x, they cancel. Negative 1x minus 5, they share a negative. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to write it as negative 1 because I find it helps me. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is 1, so I have 1x. Negative 5 divided by negative 1 is positive 5. They both share this. I have x plus 5. And what's left is 2x minus 1. Now, here's the thing. I was only focused on what's in the parentheses. Don't forget. That guy was still outside the whole time, right? So it's 3x times x plus 5 times 2x minus 1. Are we good so far? I didn't think I was going to do this good of a job. I honestly thought I set the bar real low. It's like, hey, only one person gets it. It's cool. It's more than yesterday. Set the bar low so that when you like overachieve, you're happy. You know, when I go to take a test, I'm like 60. That's all I want, 60. Then when I get a 62, I'm like, yes, I beat my expectation. It's pretty good. It's pretty funny. All right, try the last one, B. Okay, try B. So I didn't call me that.
That's also pretty bad.
I just feel like if I say enough bad jokes, one of them's got to stick. Like, how do you make an egg roll? You push it. Bad, right? Like, it's not good. Horrendous. Oof. Who haven't I called on? Cody,
Yeah.
what do they all share in common?
No idea.
Oh, come on, bro. Look at each term. What do they all have?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't work with me. You know that.
Yeah, I know.
So look at each of these. What do they all have?
Is it 2 or no?
Well, there's a number bigger than 2, but you're on the right start. But what else do they share, Cody? I think you're thinking too hard here.
I don't
They
know.
all have what letter?
X.
An X, right? They all have an X and they all have 2 of them. So I'm going to pull out an X squared. Now, Cody said 2. Now, Cody's not wrong. There's just a bigger number, right? Because if I divide everything by 2, I'm going to see that there's going to be a 3 that I could pull out as well. So the trick here with these problems is to see the largest number that goes in the first time. And I think we see 6, right? Now, there's two thoughts here. You can pull out a 6 or a -6. I like pulling out a -6 here because I want my leading coefficient to be positive, meaning I want this guy to be positive. -54 divided by -6 is 9. X to the 4th divided by x squared is x squared. 42 divided by -6 is -7. X cubed divided by x is x. 12 divided by -6 is -2. And x squared, they cancel. From here, okay, don't forget this guy's going to drop all the way down. If you want to do it now, you can. Hope I gave myself enough room. These two multiplied, -18. Hannah, what 2 numbers? What 2 factors of 18? Give me -7.
9 and 2.
9 and 2 are 7 apart. But which one's positive, which one's negative?
The -2.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is it +9, -2?
Wait, one more time?
-9, +2?
Yeah, that's what I thought you said. -9 and +2. So Hannah, notice it needs to be a -7, right? Do you see that?
Yeah.
So if I do positive, what is it? +9 and -2. If I do 9 minus 2, I get 7. And that's the opposite of what I want. So you just flip your signs here. So now I'm going to group the 9s together. And I'm going to group the 2s together. In the front half, I think you can see we're going to take out a 9x. That leaves me with x minus 1. And in the back half, I'm going to pull out a 2. And that's going to leave me with x minus 1 as well. Both of these are the same, meaning I did it right. So I'm going to pull that out, x minus 1 times 9x plus 2. Any questions? Bella?
We didn't pull out a
and your signs are switched, right? That's okay. All right, so Kailana said, well, I only pulled out a 6 and my signs are switched. That's fine, okay? It's perfectly fine. Because what's gonna happen in here is this will be like 1 and this is like another, right? So not that big of a deal. Okay? Let me end this and then let me kind of tell you where we're going.